Alright, I'm going to do 23. I just rewrote it, so I had a little bit more space. We're going to start by factoring everything. That way I can see what's sort of going on in this problem. So I can see that these two have part of their denominators are the same. They both have x, and these both have x minus 5, and this one's the only one with a 2. So if I want to get a common denominator, I'm going to need a 2, I'm going to need an x by itself, and then I'm going to need an x minus 5. So I want each of these to have this denominator. So this fraction needs to be multiplied by 2 over 2, which is just the same thing as 1. So I'm not changing the value of the fraction. This one needs to be multiplied by 2 and x minus 5. And this one needs to be multiplied just by x over x. So again, I can multiply each individual fraction by a different version of 1, and I'm not changing the value of that fraction. So now I have this. The 2 times 3 I'm going to multiply on the outside. So I have 6 times x minus 5. And so now I've just converted, basically I've changed the numerators so that now they all have the same denominators, and they're still equivalent to what they were before. Now that they all have the same denominator, I'm going to get rid of that denominator by multiplying both sides by the same thing. And I'm going to multiply both sides by basically what that denominator was. I can now do different, I don't have to multiply, this doesn't have to be a fraction that's 1, because I'm doing it to both sides. As long as I do the same thing to both sides, I keep it equal, so that's fine. So I'm basically going to take this, I'm going to multiply it by this whole term, and so these two would cancel out, and all I would have left is the 14. But now I'm going to also distribute this to this whole term, so this numerator and this denominator cancel out, and all I have left is 6 times x minus 5. And then same thing happens here when you distribute here, and all you're left with is 4x. And now you have a pretty easy equation to solve. And if I combine these two, I get negative 16. And so x equals 8.